The UN Human Rights Council took an unprecedented action this week. It focused on China and Russia, the two permanent members of the UN Security Council. The mandate of the Human Rights Council is to promote human rights wherever they are violated and to condemn those violations without fear or favor. The Council's effort has been great. Since the start of that bitter struggle in 2011, the Commission of Inquiry for Syria has published detailed, forensic findings multiple times a year. The Rohingya community's suffering was described in graphic detail in the fact-finding expedition for Myanmar, and it was made abundantly obvious that the country's ruling junta was to blame. Of course, no nation, regardless of size, likes being put on the Council's naughty step, so they all make an effort to avoid it. But some are successful while others are not. To the profound disappointment of human rights organizations, China triumphed this week. Michelle Bachelet, the departing UN Human Rights Commissioner, finally released her report on abuses against Uyghur Muslims in China's Xinjiang province in August, just minutes before she left office. It contained evidence of widespread abuse, from arbitrary imprisonment to forced labor to torture, as many rights campaigners had expected. Abuse that can qualify as crimes against humanity, according to Ms. Bachelet. After a report like this, the Human Rights Council takes certain steps including a debate, selection and appointment of a special expert to monitor the concerning country and sometimes full-fledged commission of investigation. But in this case, Western diplomats led by United States and United Kingdom, adopted the simplest strategy and requested only a debate which they lost. China actively campaigned, particularly with African nations that had benefited from Beijing's investment. The majority of the world, according to its ambassador, was tired of the West's political manipulation. He said that while it is us today, it will be you tomorrow. Only 17 member states supported a discussion, 19 opposed it, and 11 abstained when the votes were totaled. Only one African nation, Somalia, responded positively. The majority supported China, including Mauritania, Senegal, the Ivory Coast, and Cameroon. The vote demonstrates China's status as a world giant with the ability to sway weaker UN members that may rely on it for financial assistance. Moscow's diplomats, who previously strolled purposefully from meeting to meeting at the United Nations in Geneva, have been more and more sidelined since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russia can no longer hold a voting position on the Human Rights Council. Instead, it can only take part as an observer. Western diplomats and rights advocates were certain for this week's resolution to appoint a UN Special Rapporteur to keep an eye on Russian human rights violations. The resolution on Russia was put to a vote, just like the one on China, and this time it was approved. One delighted Western ambassador tweeted, "Happy 70th birthday, Mr. Putin." But when you look at the results, there isn't much to rejoice for the West. A startling 24 council members abstained, while only 17 members of the council voted in favor. That concept, which was developed by people who had seen the horrors of World War II, including Russia and China, is beginning to appear to be a fiction. Less powerful nations will band together and argue that they don't need any outside interference, while more powerful nations can use their influence to avoid examination. Rights organizations claim that in addition to the thousands of victims of oppression and abuse, we all stand to lose.